What's up, everyone, and welcome back to another video here on the Combat and Canvas YouTube channel. I'm Brady, with me as Max. As always, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Click the link in our bio to see our gaming channel because we're putting out daily content over there. But here, we talk about some news. We talk about some interesting topics in the combat sports realm. And today, we're going to be talking about one person specifically, and that is Tai Tuivasa.
This is a depressing one.
Bam Bam, Tai Tuivasa, fan favorite. A lot of people love Tai. I love Tai. I think he's great.
Us
He's
included.
funny. He's awesome.
I mean, what's not to love?
This, as of this recording, this past weekend, UFC Vegas 88, right? He fought Marcin Tybura and lost.
Yeah.
So
round
I guess
round one.
Yeah, we'll break down this fight a little bit. So Tai comes in, man, looking a little leaner than usual. I thought he looked a little smaller, which could be good. He had longer hair. He had his little ponytail.
Little man bun.
Before the fight, he did reveal that he had knee surgery.
Yeah.
So that pushed this fight back a little bit. But he made it. He got through the knee surgery. But the knee wasn't really the issue here.
Not at all. He looked good to start, honestly.
Yeah, so the fight kicks off, man. Tai looked fast. He looked good. He looked fine. He looked like Tai Tuivasa. I mean,
100%.
he was in there. He was throwing, banging, pulling his pants up and throwing and pulling. He does.
Yeah.
Throwing
some elbows.
They get in a little bit of a clinch situation. And he threw a nasty elbow. It cut Marcin Tybura on the top of his head. He was bleeding pretty bad, like almost immediately.
At that point, I thought it was all going well.
Yeah, I thought, man, if Ty's looking this fast, this good, this precise with his strikes, like obviously, if you get hit with an elbow, it's going to cut you. But that early in the fight, it's hard to get in a clinch position and hit a short elbow like that because the opponent's usually in and out and waiting, and they're aware. But he caught him and it looked good. He was bleeding. I was like, oh no, Ty's going to be on a roll here. We might get a knockout because Marcin was coming off of a knockout loss. So it's like, okay, here we go. And then Tai Tuivasa made the mistake of letting Tybura take him down, and then it was it. So
100% over.
But here's the thing. Before it was actually over, Tybura basically got on his back while Tai was on his hands and knees.
This was insane.
Punching him in the head, giving him headshots. Now, in
like 50 in a row.
Yeah, in Tai's, I don't want to say defense, but in his, like, to give him some props, he didn't get knocked out from these shots. And
I don't know how. I don't know how.
He was like this, just like looking up at his corner while getting punched in the side of the head.
Yeah, it was like he was waiting for them to tell him what to do.
Yeah, which was weird. And that was where I first started to be a little like, what is going on? Because he wasn't getting up. He wasn't trying to get up. He was just there. He wasn't trying to move. He wasn't trying to let Tybura get on top of him and give he was just basically he was giving up his back without moving.
Yeah.
And
no defense.
Looking at his coaches like, should I just let him keep hitting me? Or like he looked like in that position. I'm not saying Tai Tuivasa is an amateur, by no way he's an amateur, but in that position, he looked like an amateur because he's like staring at his coach like, tell me what to do right now because I have no idea what to do.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here on all fours getting punched in the head.
Yeah. That was such a bad visual.
Luckily for him, very luckily for him, the ref did not stop the fight there.
I don't know how. I thought it was over.
Yeah. He was taking so many unanswered shots. I think it was because he just kept his head up and was like,
he's like, I'm not unconscious.
Like I'm looking at my coaches. They're not doing like I'm not like he wasn't even like doing this. He was just like looking around.
Yeah, he was trying to go Derek Lewis and just stand up.
Yeah, it wasn't working.
It was not working.
So basically, then Tybura, I guess, in his own head was like, okay, these punches aren't working.
Yeah.
So he pulled him back and hooked in a rear naked choke, and Tai did not tap. He went to sleep. He put Tai Tuivasa out cold with a choke.
You could hear him breathing, like how struggled it was. You could hear just the air squeezing in and out, like he could barely breathe. Sound like Darth Vader.
It was almost like there was like this much of a gap. He was like I can get some air and I'm good. But he wasn't good. He ended up getting put out.
Eventually the squeeze was just too tight. It's like the blood. If the blood's not able to get to the brain, you're gonna go out.
Yeah, so he went out. Tyrell won round one. Um,
Yeah, that was a
so
bad
yeah,
visual. Ty like jerked as he went out. That was just
and
gruesome.
but this isn't a video talking about the fight. This is talking about what's next for Tai Tuivasa
Yeah.
because we both have an interesting take here. Now, I don't know. I genuinely don't know if this is a popular opinion or not because I haven't really, I haven't seen much of the talks of what should go next for Ty as far as fans. I haven't really seen anyone talking about it, but I guess we discussed about this on
Yeah.
what we think should be next for Tai Tuivasa. So before I say anything about what's next, I do want to point out this: Tai Tuivasa is now on a four-fight losing streak in the UFC.
Yeah.
And not just four-fight losing streak, okay? Back in September 2022, he got knocked out by Cyril Gane.
That was just a beating. Beating,
Then,
bro.
same year, December 2022, he got knocked out by Sergey Pavlovich.
Basically instantly.
Then, September 2023, he got submitted by Alexander Volkov.
This is depressing.
Then, March 2024, he got submitted by Marcin Tybura. So, four losses in a row, four finishes in a row. His last win. Now, in his defense, before these four, he was on a 5-fight win streak, all by knockout.
Yeah. He was
But
looking so good.
he knocked out Steven Struve. He knocked out Harry Hunsucker. He knocked out Greg Hardy, which was nasty.
I
He
love
knocked
that
out
one, man.
he knocked out Augusto Sakai, and he knocked out Derek Lewis, who's the consensus knockout
Yeah.
king of the division.
That was such an awesome knockout. The elbow. Yeah, the elbow again.
So he doesn't have many decisions. Like mostly everyone he's fighting, even on the regional scene. On the regional scene, he has all knockouts. In the
Yeah.
UFC, he started. Here's a weird one. He started his UFC career in 2017, where Tibera was the main event, and
Yeah.
he
That is
got
crazy.
a flying knee knockout
Yep.
victory. Then he goes on to get another knockout. Then he got one decision against Andrei Arlovsky. Then he started taking losses, but then he
Yeah.
came back with a 5-fight knockout win streak.
Yeah,
He
then he
has
started coming back.
one decision win in his career, and everything else is by knockout. By the
Yeah.
way, he has 14-7. So 13 knockouts in 14 fights is crazy, or 14 wins, I should say, is
Yeah.
crazy.
And only one decision loss. All the rest of his losses up from finish as well.
So I guess what I'm saying here is no. Before you assume, no, I do not think Tai Tuivasa should retire. But
Yeah.
but
He still got
it's
those hands, though.
where he's fighting is the issue. I
Yep.
don't think he is. Oh man, this is gonna hurt me to say because I've never said this out loud. I don't think he's UFC caliber right at this point.
Yeah. At least at the level that his popularity like demands, where he's so popular, he's gonna only be fighting the best guys. They're not gonna just throw him in there against scrubs for no reason. So he's one of the more
Yeah,
popular guys, but that means he's gonna have to be facing the top guys, and he's shown that he's just not at that level.
yeah,
Unfortunately, man.
because
I love Ty.
when you're looking at the top, okay, let's look at a guy who just won in Curtis Blades. I think Blades wins that.
He
Let's look at
would
the guy who
kill him,
Blades
bro.
beat, Gelton Almeida.
He would
Almeida
murder
wins
him.
that.
Yeah.
Let's look at the
Almeida
champ.
would murder him too.
Both, I guess, both current champs, John Jones and Tom Aspinall, would both beat him.
Yeah, I don't even want to think about that.
I think that, like, and here's the thing, okay, with a lot of these guys, aside from, like, maybe Tom, they can all grapple and they can
Yep.
all wrestle really
Exactly.
well. Blades can wrestle really well.
Yep.
Almeida,
Basically, I mean,
really well. Jones, really, like,
Alexander Volkov's not even known for his grappling, and he was able to submit him. So yeah, it's
so,
just the grappling is clearly the issue.
a bad issue. And, like, after getting put out by Volkov, you would think that he would, like, fix that. And I don't know
Yeah.
if he tried, but it's not working.
Yeah.
So here's the thing that we have.
We've thought of
Hold on.
solution.
Tai Tuivasa. It's time to move on to BKFC. I think that Tai Tuivasa
Yep.
should move from the UFC, leave the UFC, whether it's on his own accord or I don't even know. UFC might just cut him at this point.
Unfortunately, as sad as that is.
If he leaves, go to BKFC, go to bare knuckle fighting.
100%. Match made in heaven.
Tai can throw. He
Yeah.
loves to throw. That's what he was doing in the Marcin fight when he was winning, just throwing. He
Yep.
loves to throw down, but he gets taken down because he leaves him compromised in position. Now in
Yeah.
BKFC, he can throw all he wants because
Yep.
they're not shooting for a takedown.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Exactly.
We're throwing back.
100%. Yeah, where
And I do
he's a fish
think,
out of water on the ground.
and I think that now this is no knock in BKFC at all, but a lot of their stars that come over are lower weight, right?
Yeah.
Mike Perry, lower weight. Eddie Alvarez, lower weight.
Yeah. Even when MVP went.
MVP, yeah, he went over there. Didn't have the greatest success, but
Yeah.
lower weight. John
Yeah. Eddie
Dodson,
Alvarez.
lower
Yeah.
weight. Like all these guys are lower. We've seen,
Chad Mendez.
yeah, Mendes, lower. They need a heavyweight. Now, that's not me saying they don't have any heavyweight stars. There's a couple heavyweight guys that I know there that are pretty beast, but as
Yeah.
far as a crossover from the UFC, someone from the
Yeah.
UFC who
In
is going
terms
to
of
attract
name
more
value.
eyes,
Yeah. Name value.
they need a heavyweight, and that's a
There's,
heavyweight that knocked out one of the guys, Greg Hardy, who went over. That's Tai Tuivasa.
I mean,
Tai
yeah.
Tuivasa can come over to BKFC and be a massive star for them, and I think that would be a huge get for BKFC. They would be.
100%.
They always say one man's trash is another man's treasure, right? And I'm
Yeah.
not saying Tai Tuivasa is trash in the UFC, but if they get rid of him, that's a gold mine for BKFC because the guy who's still I don't want to say flawless, but he's still like exceptional in the stand up,
Yeah.
only doing stand up for you,
Yeah.
perfect because he's gonna win.
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, like you said, they need a heavyweight star. He fits that bill perfectly. Ty was able to make a name for himself in the UFC with his knockouts, the shoeys, the walk-ins. He was just perfectly able to market himself, but unfortunately it just didn't work out in terms of winning once he got to the top of the division. But somewhere like BKFC is a perfect opportunity for him to keep building that popularity and keep making his legacy, but without having to fight the best of the best guys who are going to take him down, make him uncomfortable, choke him out, ground and pound him, when all he really wants to do is bang and put on a fun show for the fans. At the end of the day, Tai Tuivasa is an entertainer. He wants to put on fun fights. He's not going to try to grapple. I don't even think he's really interested in wanting to learn how to do offensive grappling. I think he just wants to go in
Yeah,
there,
he
put
just
his
wants to
paws
throw.
on somebody. Yeah, and I think BKFC is the perfect place to do that. I mean, I think that we have seen UFC guys in the past with that sort of scrappy style have success. Mike Perry, perfect example. He couldn't really get it done in terms of the upper rankings of the UFC, but he was always down for a scrap, no matter who he was fighting, no matter what weight class it was. So I feel like Ty fits that bill perfectly where he just wants to scrap, put on a show. BKFC should be happy to have him. I feel like he could easily be the number one face of the company if they market him correctly. And I'm not
Yeah,
going to, I don't tune into a lot of BKFC fights. I'll tune into the Mike Perry's, the Chad Mendez, Eddie Alvarez, but I don't just tune in on every single card, but I would 1000% tune in to a Tai
yeah,
Tuivasa card because that just sounds like a good time for everyone involved. Where the walkout, I'm sure would be crazy. I'm sure the fans would love him for BKFC. I just think it's a match made in heaven,
yeah.
and I just can't stop thinking about how fun it would be to see him go in there in a BKFC match.
And something that like we mentioned, but we've mentioned it without mentioning it. Eddie Alvarez, right? Uh, Chad Mendez, Mike Perry, all these guys, they're American. Tai Tuivasa could be a big star for them,
Yeah,
and he's not American. He could be a
I
crossover
love
star
that.
not only for the sport, but for bringing eyes from Australian fans
Yeah,
over. Who knows? You might get BKFC in Australia. You bring a guy like that as your main event
100%.
headline star.
Australians like that
Travel
type of
like
shit.
that'd be huge.
They're
And
scrappy.
not to mention also, right? Ty likes to go in their bank. Dude got a big ass head. And what I
Yeah,
mean by that is he's taking the shots. I know he can take them bare knuckle shots. I know he can. Now, can he take a million of them? Probably not. But if he
yeah,
gets in there and throws, I think he knocks his opponent out before they knock him out
yep.
because he's going to be able to take some shots. I
Couldn't
just
agree
think
more.
that Ty needs something to
He's such a
like
big
spark.
star.
He needs something to like to get him like sparked up again. Like
Yeah,
all these losses and 4 or 5 losses, like, come on, you need something, and I think that something could be getting a win in BKFC and
yeah,
feel what that win is again. I saw a
yeah.
stat that made me a little sad. We haven't
Oh
seen
God,
a
let's
Tai
hear it.
Tuivasa. We haven't seen a Tai Tuivasa shoey in the UFC in 2 years.
Yeah, that is depressing, man. The
Two
world needs more
years.
shoeys. Come on,
We need shoeys. That was his
that is
thing. That
just
was his big thing.
insane to think
Now,
about. We were seeing
I'm
those every
sure.
month. It felt like.
I'm sure Ty's gonna go do it outside of the UFC. But as far as on screen,
Yeah.
we're not seeing of it. It's like that was a fun part. Ty
So
jump up on the
he was
cage, you get the
probably yeah.
shoe. It was a good time.
Yeah,
We
he was
need
doing
it in
too much shoeies
BKFC now.
pre-fight. Yeah, he was doing too much shoeies pre-fight instead of
It seems
post-fight.
so.
So
It
I want to start
seems
seeing him
so.
post-fight again.
Yeah, we need that, and BKFC could have that. I mean,
Yeah,
genuinely, just like marketing Taito Ivasa would be so easy
yeah.
because the guy's already so likable, and
Yeah.
you
He's
got the
already such a big
shoeies.
star.
You got the shoeies. You got the he's coming from a different country.
Yeah,
You got the power to bring in new fans from that
yeah. The
said country, or
walkouts.
even go over there. The walkouts, the potential highlight
Yeah,
knockouts,
knockouts.
like
He's either getting knocked out or he's putting someone out.
yeah. BKFC, like seriously, obviously, I know BKFC can't just be like, okay, Ty, come over here because of contract tampering. But if the
Yeah,
UFC lets him go, BKFC offer that dude money because I
yeah.
think
This
he
is
is money for your brand.
yeah best case scenario for BKFC for Ty. Probably not the best case scenario for the UFC because he's still a big star for them despite losing. But I just think that man, it would be so much fun for the fans to be able to see those types of fights in BKFC because they need a heavyweight star, like we've been saying. And man, Ty fits that mold perfectly. Man, he could just be
Yeah,
such a big star for them.
and the from the UFC standpoint, like he is a big star for them, and obviously, I know that they don't want to let him go, but Ty's only 31 years old. Let
Yeah,
him go over to BKFC for a little bit, and then you can always bring him back.
yeah,
You could always
uh,
bring the guy back, let him get a couple wins, let him get his spark up, and then bring him back. But when you have a guy who's on a on a what did I say, 5 fight
4 fight
losing
losing
streak,
streak.
4
4,
fight losing streak,
yeah, all by
and
finish.
and the, all the people around him in the rankings are like gonna beat him. So
Yeah,
you don't want to put him out there to just keep losing
yeah,
because
and he doesn't want to do that either. I'm sure.
in the end, yes, he's a big star, but you keep on losing, it's gonna eventually devalue your fanfare, and people are just
Yeah,
gonna be like, "Okay, I don't even care anymore because he's gonna go out there and lose." But let him go over to BKFC, people will automatically be excited because we know stand and bang is what he does, and that's
oh,
all he's gonna be able to do. So
I
you're
can picture it
automatically
now.
tuning in for that. Like win or lose, he could lose 6 in a row in the UFC, but the moment they announce him for BKFC, I'm tuning in because you know it's gonna go down because Ty loves to fight.
Yeah,
And then if he wins, which I'm sure he would win, I'm sure they're not going to obviously, if he goes into BKFC, I'm almost positive they're not going to throw him right into the championship or anything. So they'll give him a
yeah,
guy. He'll beat him. People will be excited again. They'll tune in for the next one. Like, this is a perfect scenario for BKFC and for Ty, I think. Now, UFC, maybe not so much, but like I said, he's still 31. You can always bring him back in 3, 4 years or whatever, 2 years even,
yeah,
if you can. And it's like, yeah, it's just BKFC is growing
definitely.
and they're getting more. I know they were having issues in the beginning with, getting to be able to be in places because of, commissions don't want to
Beat
deal with
bare
that.
knuckle. Yeah,
Yeah, but they're getting more places. We're seeing new events being taken places in different states and stuff. I saw they have like 5 events lined up, and they're all in different states and all that. So it's like you bring in a guy like this. Not only is it also going to help the commission, okay, they're bringing in some UFC stars. We want pay. We want this
yeah.
money. We
They're
want
like,
this
let me get a
revenue
piece
for
of
our
that.
city. Yeah, like your city, your state. Like this is like when the Super Bowl. This is how people bid on the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
People bid on the WrestleMania. People want these UFC pay-per-views in their city because then fans come, they
contribute to
go
the
get
economy.
hotels or
Yeah,
yeah, buy food,
bars.
local
Yeah,
businesses, bars, all that. So BKFC. Now I'm not saying obviously they're going to bring in like a drove, but you start bringing in guys like Tai Tuivasa, and then fans want to travel for it, and they want to
yeah.
bring in more money, and then eventually, like I said, you take BKFC over to Australia or New Zealand or
That'd be
wherever you
huge.
can get in over there with Ty, people you're going to sell out that show.
Yeah,
That would be huge.
1000%.
So I do think that this would very, 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 very much so benefit BKFC. I also think it would benefit Thai.
Honestly,
UFC,
yeah.
UFC is gonna be continuing no matter with or without Thai. It's not like So it's
Yeah,
like a loss for them, but not like a massive loss.
yeah,
And
they
like
have
I
so
said,
much good
always coming
heavyweights.
back. So yeah, I just think that BKFC and Tai Tuivasa is a match made in heaven at this point,
A
and I
hundred
think
percent.
this should happen.
Yeah, I really hope it does happen because oh man, I just can't stop picturing it. It would just be so much fun.
Yeah, just dreaming of another
Yeah,
Chewy.
I know, bro. It's been so depressing every time I see him in the last few fights. I'm like, yeah, he's gonna knock this guy out, no matter what. But I'm starting to be like, man, I'm just starting to be blocked with the bias because I just like him too much. I think.
Yeah, I think that's like we we both picked
Yeah,
Tuivasa to win this last one, and I was like, man, Tybura coming off a knockout, like Ty got this. Like I know Ty hits hard, we know he can throw,
yeah,
and he comes out there, he hits that elbow. It's like, all right, I finally, and then
yeah.
and then he lost. But it's uh, like there's always going to be that bias
It's
for
like
me towards Ty, I
depressing.
think, because I know he can knock people out. I
Yeah,
know he can knock all these people out, but the ground game just isn't there, and at this point, I don't think it ever will be.
yeah.
Um,
I don't think so.
so go over to BKFC, have some fun scraps, get some knockouts, have fun. Yeah, that would be the best case scenario, I think.
Agreed.
So let us know down in the comments if you agree, if you think Tai Tuivasa should go to BKFC, or why he shouldn't. If you think that, if you think he should stay in UFC, or maybe try something else. Maybe he puts on the boxing gloves, which I don't think he will, but maybe you never
I
know.
mean, he could be good there too.
But yeah, let us know in the comments where you think Tai Tuivasa should go or do next, and like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Link in the bio for the gaming channel. And thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.